All right, let's jump right in. We're about to explore a pretty wild idea. What if you could take the core principles of evolution, survival of the fittest, and use them to solve some of the trickiest problems in engineering or even finance? It's a fascinating concept, so let's get into it.
So let's start with a question that honestly sounds like it's mixing two completely different worlds. How can evolution, the very thing that gave us everything from tiny microbes to massive blue whales, also help us design, say, a better jet engine or figure out a smarter trading strategy? It sounds a little like sci-fi, but the answer is actually incredibly cool.
And the answer is right here. It's called a genetic algorithm. Really, at its heart, it's a problem-solving method that just copies what nature does. But instead of taking millions of years to evolve living things, it evolves potential solutions to a problem, digitally, right inside a computer, generation after generation. Okay, so to really get this, we kind of have to shift our perspective on evolution itself. Let's stop thinking of it just as a biological process for a second and instead see it for what it is, an unbelievably powerful, time-tested recipe for finding out what works. And the person we have to thank for this big idea is computer scientist John H. Holland. Way back in '75, he had this breakthrough realization that nature's basic formula, trial, error, survival, and reproduction, could be turned into an amazing problem-solving tool for computers.
So how on earth do you take a real-world problem and code it in a way that a computer can, well, evolve? The very first step is to create a kind of digital DNA. So let's break down what that looks like.
It all starts with the smallest piece, the gene. Now, in this digital world, a gene isn't a piece of biological DNA, it's just one single part of your problem. And to keep things simple and powerful, it's often just a binary bit, a 0 or a 1. Let's imagine you're packing a backpack. Each thing you could pack, a water bottle, a map, a jacket, that's a gene. A 1 could mean you pack it, and a 0 means you leave it behind. And the actual value that a gene has, that's called an allele. So if our genes are just 1s and 0s, the only possible alleles are, 0 and 1. It's that simple. It's like if eye color is the gene, then blue or brown are the alleles. For our backpack, the gene is jacket, and the alleles are 1 for pack it and 0 for don't pack it. Okay, now here's where it gets really cool. When you string a bunch of these genes together, you get what's called a chromosome. And this is the powerful part. A chromosome isn't just one setting, it represents one complete possible solution to your entire problem. For our backpack, a chromosome would be the full packing list, a long string of 1s and 0s that tells us exactly what's in and what's out. So let's just recap how this all fits together. You've got these individual genes which hold different allele values, and they all combine to form a chromosome. And that chromosome is one full solution that the algorithm can test and evaluate. This string of numbers is literally the digital DNA for one potential answer to your problem. Okay, so now we can create a whole population of these digital chromosomes, each one a different guess at the right answer. But how do we actually find the best one? Well, this is where the engine of the whole thing really kicks in, survival of the fittest.
Right, this is the absolute core of it. The algorithm looks at every single solution, every single backpack, and gives it a fitness score. Solutions that are better at solving the problem get a higher score. So maybe a high-scoring backpack has water and a map, but isn't too heavy. The algorithm then gives a huge preference to these better solutions, letting them pass on their good genes to the next generation.
And this all happens in two main steps. First is selection, where the best chromosomes, our best backpacks, are chosen and put into this temporary group called a mating pool. Then comes reproduction, where those chosen solutions are mixed together, sometimes with a few random changes, to create a brand new generation of solutions, or new packing lists. But, choosing the best isn't always so straightforward. How exactly does the algorithm pick the winners that get to reproduce? There are a few different ways to play this game, so let's check them out. So you've got two main flavors here. Fitness proportionate selection cares about the actual score. If one solution scores a 90 and another scores an 80, the 90-pointer has a better shot. Ordinal selection, though, doesn't care about the score itself, just the rank. It only knows that one solution is first place and the other is second. So, one of the classic ways to do this is called roulette wheel selection. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. Imagine a big roulette wheel and every solution gets a slice. The better its fitness score, the bigger its slice of the wheel. You spin it, and whatever solution it lands on gets picked to reproduce.
It's still a game of chance, but the odds are definitely stacked in favor of the best ones.
Then there's another super common method, tournament selection. This one's even simpler. You just grab a small, random group of solutions, say 2 or 3 of our backpack lists, and just have them compete head-to-head. Whichever one has the best fitness score in that little tournament wins, and it moves on. You just do that over and over again until you have enough parents for the next generation.
So we've got our digital DNA. We have a system for picking the best ones to reproduce. It's a really neat copy of nature. But why is this such a huge deal? What makes it such a breakthrough? Well, the key is understanding just how powerful this evolutionary search really is. And this right here, this is the secret sauce. The math that John Holland worked out showed that good solutions, or even just promising little pieces of solutions, don't just get a small advantage. They get explored exponentially more with each new generation. The algorithm very, very quickly zeroes in on the most promising parts of the puzzle. And what this means in practice is pretty mind-blowing. These algorithms can dig through a number of possibilities so huge that no human could ever check them all. They come up with these creative, sometimes weird, but highly optimized designs for things like antennas, financial models, you name it, often finding solutions that a person would have never, ever thought to try.
And that leaves us with this really big question, right? For centuries, we've been designing things based on our own logic, our own experience. But what happens when we just step back, define the goal, and let the best possible answers literally evolve on their own? What kind of new frontiers could that unlock?